Welcome back, folks, to another Legends of Muskie Hunting series. We are with the legend, the man, the myth, and all that stuff, Mr. Pete Maina. Pete, it's been a long time since we have been in the boat together.
Fishing, yeah.
Sure, he emphasizes long time. You know, this whole legend thing, I guess it's kind of nice, but I'm not a fan, frankly.
not a fan.
I think this means I'm old, and then immediately, what do you say? Oh, it's been a long time.
Really long time.
Yeah,
The
thanks.
gray hairs are popping in hard now. But,
Yeah, speak for yourself. I don't have any gray hair. That's why I wear this. Actually.
there you go, cover it up.
Cut back to some old footage of you guys together. That'd be kind of funny.
Yeah, no, yeah, we would like to see some of that for sure. At any rate, we are so happy to have you back for another one of these awesome videos that have been so well received. Thank you so much, everyone, for all the great comments and interest in this subject matter. I'm sure Pete's going to be able to share a lot of amazing stories
From over the years. Yeah, no, this is going to be a good one. I'm liking it.
And by the way, we just shot with Larry yesterday.
Yep.
And it was flat, calm, and 82 degrees. Pete, what do we got today?
Flat, calm, and ugly. I have no exact prediction on temperature, but it's going to be way too hot.
It's going to be way too hot in September. What, second day of fall now? And we got 80-degree temperatures in the Northwoods. Not exactly good seasonal progression right now.
Not what they're used to, no.
No.
At any rate, we're going to have an awesome time and can't wait to bring you what's to come here.
We're going to get out fishing for a little bit and then dive into the interview a little bit more, but we should get cast and see if anything's moving at the moment, but it's looking great.
Yeah, here we go.
Oh, there you go. Oh, come on. Robbie, come back. That was so cool.
Was
Did you?
not only there, it was active.
Yeah, that thing just totally missed the jerk thing.
He tried.
That was so cool. Vertical muskies. And
That thing was
flat
upside
calm
down.
Yeah, it was.
He's got to eat something.
Oh yeah,
That was
yeah, go
super
for it,
good.
man. Robbie, how many casts in are you?
Like 3 or 4 micro bait. Yeah, that didn't suck.
Dang it.
Well, it kinda did.
It's
If he had it in his mouth,
Yeah, it would have been a little bit better.
oh, interesting. Maybe I'll grab minnow bait here. Got her. God, that thing hit it. That thing hit it like a ton of bricks, man. Holy gosh.
Oh, Poseidon.
First 10 casts with the Poseidon here.
Oh, is that what it was? I was going to ask you what it was.
That's a good one.
That ain't bad.
He's looking good. I can't get the angle.
Oh, camera.
Oh,
Camera. That's okay.
what I was trying to avoid.
Okay, one time.
Boy, you don't want to get in there.
Perfect. It happened. Yes. Pete, it's been a long time. Thank you, sir.
That was cool to see that happen.
Man, that video of that strike will be painful because it like rocked my world. Holy
it did,
cow.
yeah.
Look at how thick it is.
That's a nice fish.
Whew. 10 casts, Poseidon. It only took, I don't know, how many hours we've been out?
Well, we've been out a little longer
5.
than we probably want to talk about.
Hey, all good, man. Let's get this fish unhooked.
Yeah.
I got her.
Well, gosh, it was kind of neat to see that happen. Yeah, throw the lure out there and the fish nibbles, starts shaking his head. Speaking of shaking his head, he doesn't want you to
This
grab
one's gonna be a little lively, I think.
a little squirrely.
Okay, we have managed to put a fish in the boat on a Legends video
Yes,
with longtime
yes.
friend Pete Maina.
We did it.
So cool. Nice chunky fish. So awesome. Man,
I'm speechless. I'm just real happy about the whole situation here. Okay, let's get this beautiful specimen back. Look at that. Oh, yeah. Come here. Okay, don't come here.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
She's done.
I guess that was it. Well, I tried to get a picture, but oh well. We got to get the fish back. That's more important. Well, that was cool.
Yeah,
Nice.
I actually just done about 10 casts, just switched, have not had a follow since this morning, and that's on the Circus Perch, Musky Shop custom color,
Circus perch.
Poseidon.
I love it.
Sweet. All right, at least we got something to go on now.
Yes.
Maybe we'll get to an interview after this bite window.
That would probably be better time. There's clouds coming in. Who
Oh,
knows?
yeah.
We could catch a whole 6-pack of these things.
So the great news is, folks, that we have managed to put a muskellunge in the boat while doing one of these videos.
Yeah, pretty insane. You know, getting on the water today, that didn't seem like a plausible thing.
Yeah, the weather has not been.
Not the perfect weather.
No, not for the first day of fall, but it's interview time.
Yeah, we've tucked away out of the wind. We're just waiting out this last little.
Yeah, it's
Well, yeah, the 3-mile breeze.
yeah, it was ripping today.
Yeah.
So at any rate, let's start with, let's just go back. I don't know how far back we're going. Maybe you can help us clue in here. I'm just giving you a hard time, buddy.
Better be careful. You're no spring chicken now.
No doubt. But let's just kind of go back and back in time. And how did you get your start into this ridiculous sport of musky fishing?
Oh, well, that's pretty simple. My parents pulled me out of Chicago when I was 6 months old and bought a resort in Hayward, Wisconsin. And all anybody did at resorts in those days is fish. So that's what it was all
Right.
about, you know.
That's what you did.
Yeah, that's what I did. And you know what? I wrote Musky Suck. I forget exactly how I put it, but I kept things pretty pure for probably the first 4 or 5 years of guiding. I really enjoyed everything, you know, the bass, walleyes, panfish, all of that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But then I think the ego
Oh, sure.
enlarged a little bit once I got out of I had made my decision. I wasn't going to college. I
Right.
was going to stick with
Yep.
this. I'm smarter than everybody at that age. I was figuring out how to catch these muskies. I was starting to catch them pretty good, and I thought,
Yeah,
I'm
let's
going to do this
Yeah.
Gonna make a go of it.
musky thing. I'm going to concentrate on that only. Yeah, and it's been a disaster ever since.
Yeah, I can completely relate to that, folks. So what about year did you start actually guiding?
I did my first guide job at 11, and I started full-time at 14 in the
Wow.
summers.
That's
And,
awesome.
That is incredible. And what body of water was that on?
It was mainly the Spider Lake. Spider Lake
okay.
chain is where I grew
The
up
resort?
and started guiding, and yeah, and then I basically got out of Lost Land and Teal. I would say after that there was a big resort, Ross's Lodge. I did a tremendous amount of guiding out of.
Okay.
Over the years, but yeah, just basically got to be my own business. So after that, and mainly for the first 15 years of it, it was mainly just the Hayward area lake.
Sure. Wow. Pretty crazy. 11 years old, taking people out. How do the people trust you?
Yeah,
We got a muskie that day, by the way.
Funny.
first
Yeah,
day, sure.
I don't know. Yeah, and it was kind of interesting. The guy got a backlash. It was real hilarious. I was actually upset for a young guy because it was really windy, and of course there's no trolling motor, so I'm
You're
rolling,
rolling.
waiting for this guy to get the back. I'm like, is this guy ever going to get the backlash out? Then the muskie must have been looking at it the whole time because as soon as he moved it, bang.
Boom.
But I was a hero
Right.
at 11.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Get some
So-
confidence under your belt.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Just,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Funny.
So what was the guide, the going guide rate fee those days?
Oh boy.
In those days when I started, it was 35 bucks.
35 bucks.
I got a pocket knife when I was 11. That was just my dad using me to replace somebody else.
Yep.
The guy didn't show up. I think he got drunk the night before. And he says, well, my son's got a strong back, and he knows
He
some
can do some
spots."
rowing.
He can do some rowing. Oh,
Yeah.
crap.
Yeah, it was 35 bucks
Yeah.
in those days. So
For a
yeah.
full day, how many hours were you guys out?
Only 8. It was all
only 8,
bankers'
yeah.
hours.
Oh wow!
okay.
Yeah, I
In
suppose
those
a lot
days.
resorters were there, you know, and they wanted evenings, activity time,
Yep.
and hang out. And
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was actually one way I fell out of favor with some of my old-time guiding buddies is when I actually kind of broke that mold early on, quite seriously.
Sure. You're
Sure.
doing
Because,
12-hour days?
Yeah,
or-
you wanted to
evening.
catch them.
You're right. You wanted to catch a few more, but the tradition had been what it was, and they were kind of like, oh,
Can't do
what's
that.
this guy thinks he's doing?
Right.
Trying to show us up here
Yeah.
at 11, 12 years old. Yeah, it's interesting how the musky guiding, just seems so different in the grand scheme of like walleye guiding, bass guiding, panfish, whatever. So many of those trips you're 8 hours, you're done. I mean, when I was doing the heart of my guiding, obviously like Mille Lacs and some of the prime waters like that, there was no
stop
hours,
time.
dude. You just went fishing.
Right.
You wanted to catch them so bad. Being a musky, that's just part of
Yeah.
the lure of musky fishing is that you don't want to stop. You just have to get that window. It's
Yep,
gonna happen.
it's going to happen at any moment.
But-
That's very true. And
Yeah.
and I got that way after I obviously broke out of that
Yes.
mold. But there was a standard mold, and I started at such an interesting time. I guess technically I'd like to be younger than I am right now, but really, I mean, there were
Pretty
so,
cool times, though.
Yeah, I mean, there were so many cool old timers. I mean,
Yeah.
I had so many good friends that were like 50, 60 years older than me.
Yeah.
That had been guiding for years and years and years, and saw some of the lakes formed, and it was just the fact that I was guiding with them, and they respected me after
Yep.
a while. It took a while with some
yeah.
with the
Right,
long
right.
hair, but some of the old timers just accepted me right away. I mean,
That's pretty cool.
It was really cool. and in those days, what's really interesting, I don't know if you saw any of that, Lee, when you started guiding, but probably the first 10 to 15 years of my guide career, you really never worried at all about other people, somebody you're guiding, coming and fishing your spots.
Oh, sure.
Nobody ever did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a week's vacation.
Yep, and that's all you're gonna see 'em
yeah,
for.
They don't have their own boat. They don't have their
Sure.
own equipment.
They're going fishing. That's their fishing trip.
Yep.
Right.
Oh, that is definitely different. Yeah, wow.
Okay, I got perhaps one of the best questions
Well.
of this entire interview.
Wow.
When did the long hair start? We want to see Pete Maina
wow.
prior long hair.
Oh,
Oh, come on, I knew I'd have the best one.
there's been a lot of hair for a long time. I'm just going to kind of cover it up.
So
That's probably tough.
Still kind of peeking out.
Get the wings. Pete, by the way, has a definite sun. By the way, for the people not familiar with Pete, the sun is an issue for you. I'm just making that
Oh,
note.
actually, yeah. I'm joking somewhat about my hair, but I really do have an allergy with the sun where I get physically ill if I don't keep the sun.
Yeah, it's not a good day for this.
Yeah, right. So somewhat joking, but yeah, I've had hair for a long time. I decided, my dad Tex,
Yeah,
he wasn't a big fan because I
Oh, I
started
bet
doing
not.
it early on.
yeah.
But he, I'm stubborn.
Like 10 years old, 15 years old. You're
It
just trying to
was
get a
right.
scope
Well,
here.
I didn't get away with it at first. I tried
Sure.
earlier, and Tex would still lay down the law.
Oh yeah, you got to get your ears lowered, son.
That's right. But eventually, I think he just gave up. He felt like it wasn't a battle worth waging.
Yeah.
After a while.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's a good
People want to know.
question. Where does this stem from?
Oh man, that's awesome.
So, we've been fishing here all day, and granted, we got blessed with a wonderful muskie, but how different was it fishing muskies back then compared to now? How everyone's so good and, technology-wise, that had to have been so fun to be on the peak of, dumb muskies pretty much.
Well, yes and no. It's kind of interesting. You saw the peak of catch and release start
Oh,
working to
sure.
a certain extent with me. The muskies were much dumber. obviously there were very few of us that knew the lakes well to actually be on the structure. That's what's really changed these days. Obviously, everybody.
You can go to a new lake and know exactly where to be. Yeah.
Map chips and all that.
Yeah, right. And now the imaging and all the different things where you can literally see the fish. Of course, we had none of that then.
Right.
So there was only a handful of us that were pretty good at it. But the reality was in those days, in the first 4 years of my guiding, I never even questioned this. We killed them all.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So, I mean, it was 32 inches and they were dead. And lo and behold, I mean, I know this is going to surprise some people, but I have to admit very honestly, I had never really thought about it until somebody mentioned catch and release to me. It's very embarrassing, but you would hardly ever see a muskie, believe it or not, over 34 inches.
Weird how that happened.
It was shocking.
Let me think about this a minute.
Right.
Yeah. No, there was actually they were dumber in a way, but there just wasn't that many. It wasn't that good then. And then and I got to be honest. I mean, a friend of mine from Muskies Inc., a contractor that I actually worked for, he brings up the whole idea of catch and release, and he said, "Would you like to catch bigger muskies?" I thought, well, that sounds like a nice idea. And he says, well, you know, if you wouldn't keep all of those when they're 32 inches long, they get older and they might get bigger. And it really was. I was just like,
dumbfounded.
God, what a fool. Honestly, it never even crossed my mind.
That's just what you did.
Yeah, right. They told you to kill them, so I killed them.
Right. That's so funny.
You're bringing them in.
Bringing them in.
Yep.
But anyway, then then we did have a period of much better angling for you know, a combination of things coming together. The catch and release thing really caught on, and people saw fairly quickly. You could see the steps up when the size limits changed in a lot of cases. There was still harvest. There was a lot of voluntary catch and release, but there was still harvest. So the 40-inch size limits went on, and then all of a sudden everything's 41, 42.
Right. That kind of changes quick.
Yeah.
It was still 34 inches up until how long ago? I mean, really 34 statewide for Wisconsin. Really got put in place. I'm not good on years, but not that long ago.
It really wasn't that long ago. I think overall it really was a more voluntary thing after a while.
Right. Wow.
As far as a mandate, but
different times.
Yeah, really different times, and I think it's come all the way around now to the point where it's starting to degrade again. Comparatively, for a variety of reasons. I think the fish are a lot smarter, and I think there's a few less now. Because there's so many good anglers, and there's not as many fish to go around in general. And there's a certain amount of delayed mortality, and some fish that just
when they
they swallow a lure or whatever.
Part of fishing,
So, but yeah, I kind of went through that stage, and then there's always the the stock lake situations which have occurred, and that's probably some of the craziest fishing that you see when the fish are new and they're growing quickly and they're fairly dumb.
So one thing I always find fascinating about back in the day was the limited amount of tools the fishermen had to catch these fish. Specifically, obviously, I'm a bait maker, and I'm always curious about baits. What were some of the go-to tools for you back in the day for to catch these fish? What baits were popular? What was your hot secret deal? And
Boy, it is really interesting to ponder that. Yes, there was not much. Now, in my particular case, it was pretty simple. The jerk bait was the eddy bait.
Okay. Yeah.
Because Eddie Osling, who developed it, he was a guide on the Spider Lake chain and some of the area lakes, right?
Yep.
And that thing could have sold way more units than it actually ended up doing. It became a real phenomenon.
Yeah.
But Eddie only made so many.
Yep.
And was not a great businessman in that respect. But that was my confidence bait and a real good bait. It was. Everything's arguable, but I think it was the first, glider style,
that was
bait that was out there.
Yeah, that's important to note. It was a glide bait, cylinder in shape, a little
basically
fatter
a
in the
broomstick.
head. Little fatter up front, little narrower in the tail, lead weighted, obviously, to get it to
walk
swim around.
Yep. Yeah, they darted all around, and then there was a variety of bucktails, but we probably used MEPS more than anything.
Yep.
MEPS number 5 and Giant Killers are real popular.
Still good. That's the crazy part.
Yeah, if you're looking to catch your first muskie out there,
Yeah.
MEPS number 5. What do you need?
Right.
Throw that
Stupid.
thing. You'll catch them.
Yeah. And probably the goofiest thing of all, you know, there was a variety of different things, a little bit of spoons and obviously some suics and stuff. But there really was very little. And one thing there was absolutely none of. They might have been available, but I was never introduced to it, never met anybody in those days that had anything like it. The first soft plastics I heard about was Gene Curtis's Creature, yeah. But there was no soft plastics. I mean, basically the story of how long now, the last couple of decades anyway, when it comes to bigger fish, everything's arguable, but the soft plastics realm has just ballooned to, you know, things that are like toys for kids, huge monster things.
1 pound lures.
Yeah. 1 pound lures, right?
You weren't scrolling Facebook to see what the new lures were at that time? Or anything?
I was not.
No, you didn't have a smartphone.
There was just there was a phone, but it was attached by a funny long cord to the wall.
It went into the wall.
Yeah, you used to die. Yeah, you go around.
Long distance call was $1 a minute. That was a lot of money back then.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Now, any of you young people out there watching this, and you think this is funny, it was actually better times, man. All you had to do is check your mailbox.
Yeah,
check the
simpler,
phone.
simpler.
I went fishing every day.
Yeah.
Every day, all day. Life was pretty simple.
Simpler times.
Yep.
So what would be another couple of baits that were staple items for you back then?
Well, it really got, you know, I'm almost embarrassed to say to a certain extent, but that was really it. I mean, there was a Billy Finn bucktail, that was a local bait.
Yeah,
and then,
yeah.
You know, obviously things started expanding.
Yep.
You know, I had a good buddy make a predator jerk bait, and I could go through, you know, the Shumway, Bruce Shumway's carried with the, he started the boo tail and you know, all of the different things that, you know, in general, I stuck to mostly local baits.
Sure, yeah.
In those days.
That's cool.
So is the boo tail perhaps the original double-bladed bucktail, perhaps?
I think that's a very good argument could be made for that. And the interesting thing that I really find about the history of that is Bruce came out with the jumbo.
Okay.
Quite a few years after he introduced the boo tail, and that essentially was the first double 10.
No kidding. It was that
double.
big.
But it never really caught on.
Oh,
he caught some big fish on it. But it never became a staple for him.
Wow.
And then all of a sudden, I don't even know if he had produced them anymore. I really don't think he had. I think he gave up on them.
Yeah.
And then a decade at least goes by, and then all of a sudden, bang, here we got Musky Mayhem. And
double tens,
you know, everything's arguable, but that was one of the biggest trends, you know.
They didn't have the equipment back then to throw them.
You couldn't throw them, you couldn't reel them. You know, I recall back when we fished on Mille Lacs with Gillespie, and we got a hold of the first cowgirls, and like the fish, middle of the day, horrible weather, the fish are just rolling in on that thing. It was incredible.
Stupid.
And Gillespie snaps one on, and what's this cowbell thing? And you know, within minutes he's got a fish. It was like last light, I remember, on the north end of Mille Lacs when that happened. That was like 2006 when that was going on. But yeah, just a good memory of that. But yeah, the baits have obviously progressed. So in the reels and everything, it's just such a different game now.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, no, that's interesting to hear. The Eddie bait, that definitely.
That was the one.
The first time I fished the Chippewa flowage, that was the guy I fished with, Kevin Hamilton. That was his bait out there as well.
Choice.
Oh yeah.
So obviously things have changed considerably, but how did like the filming thing kind of start out for you? Like what year approximately, and you know what show?
What cameras? Like how did this even come about? Like just
I love it. This young guy, what camera?
You know, just like
they were about this big.
VHS and then Beta.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Yeah, it was just a gradual transition for me in that I remember I was amazed when somebody asked me to write an article or do a seminar.
Sure.
I mean, it really kind of freaked me out. But I got lucky with all of that. I don't know. You know, you asked earlier about the hair. Maybe it was the hair. That helped.
Yeah.
I catch a few muskies, but I had a lot of hair.
Yep.
And I got to be real honest on that one. I realized I had something with that. Because I don't know how many, you know how you can hear when somebody's running a outboard and they're talking about you.
Yeah.
And I started hearing all the time, you see that guy with the long hair over there? That's that Pete Maina. That's that Pete
the word
Maina.
gets around.
He gets them muskies.
And I'm like, I better keep this hair.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Kind of clicked in there. Yeah.
Oh, good trademark.
Yeah, but anyway, ESPN was my first show, and I had a pretty good reputation. At that point, I was basically, this Ross's Lodge was a pretty big lodge, and there was a lot of big money people
would
go there.
Sure.
It was a pretty expensive place, and they'd be like, you know, how it is with the toughest species in freshwater kind of thing.
Okay.
Who's your best guy?
Yeah.
And I had made that status by then, so I got that with a lot of clients. And then this TV show, to a certain extent, was partially because of that. And Lonnie Stanley, you know, famous bass guy at the time, right?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
And he wanted to catch a muskie.
Stanley jigs.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's cool. And how did that first shooting go?
It was hilarious. I can tell this story. It's a real long one. But so first, Lonnie, he was a great guy, by the way. But he did not know you're supposed to set the hook immediately when a muskie strikes.
Sure.
He was like, oh, worm.
It's a worm.
Let's let him have it a little while. Well, then there were sponsors for the show. I got to fish with them for about 3 hours.
Yep.
And they said, you go your own way. And this was not Lonnie that really wanted to do this or said this, but they, after the sponsors were in the boat, said, well, if you catch one, we need it, bring it over. So of course, when I'm out of the camera boat, I immediately catch one.
Yep.
Just about. It took about 15 minutes, right? So anyway, and they staged a deal with that muskie, and it was
fake catch.
it was unbelievable. You never seen anything so lame in your life. That poor fish.
Cringe.
Jeez. Times
Super
have changed.
cringy.
I don't think they ever used it. They couldn't. It was pathetic.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Gosh, wild.
So that was pretty neat, even though it was a little sour with that part of the experience. But then you know, basically the single best thing that ever happened in my career, I would say, was meeting John Gillespie.
That would be a good one.
Yeah.
Hey, John Gillespie.
Absolutely. And that 29 years I've been filming with him.
Wow, that's
Wow.
pretty incredible.
No. Wow.
Yeah, 29 years.
That's
New
incredible.
show every week.
Yeah.
But I did the very first show he ever filmed.
I did not know that
No,
either.
wow,
Yeah.
no kidding.
Yeah.
Holy.
And what was that show?
Yeah.
It was a muskie show.
Okay,
There
yeah.
was only one muskie caught.
Yeah.
But we hit it off and we did another one, oh gosh, about 3-4 weeks later.
Yeah.
And then we started, you know, really hitting it all
yeah.
the time. And in fact, this particular lake we're on, which we won't name, we filmed here the next year a couple of times.
Yeah, sure. Gosh, there's almost 30 years. That's just insane.
Muskies on television, folks. It
Yeah.
was starting to happen. How cool is that?
Was that
That's
one
amazing.
some of the first, like, I mean, pretty much?
Oh,
Almost?
I don't know. I mean, you know, Winkleman and
Yeah,
Sure.
okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Linders were around.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Doing, yeah, so I'm sure it'd been.
It was early. Let's just
It
say
was-
that.
it was early.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the cameras were a lot bigger.
Yeah.
The first couple of years of the Gillespie show, I remember he duct taped the mic. It was this great big mic. It looked like he had an oversized Johnsonville duct taped to your leg all the time.
man.
That was my
awesome.
microphone.
Awesome. Wow.
Fun facts behind the scenes,
Yeah.
folks.
Yep.
It is.
Yep.
That's awesome. Okay, so I got a little story going back to the fall of 2004. Pete Maina at the time invited me to a trip to Leech Lake, Minnesota.
How did that even happen?
Maybe
you should back. Yeah, right. Yeah, let's maybe back up a little bit. Like,
was
Little
writing for
backstory.
Esox Angler magazine.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we, probably really got to know each other well,
Prior to
Yeah,
somewhat.
sure.
Yeah.
Yep, through the magazine, of course. And yeah, I'm like, let me see. Yeah, I can go. I'm going. All right. And this, like, keep in mind, first week in November, water temperatures were like 38, 39. It had been cold water, but we had terrific weather for the trip.
Yeah.
But so go up there with him. And the first 10 minutes I ever spent on Leech Lake throwing a Magic Maker jerkbait. Boom, I caught my first Minnesota muskie, a 45-inch class
It
fish.
was a nice fish, yeah.
It was a great, I was in heaven, muskie heaven. I'm like, this is unbelievable. Like, I've only caught 1, 2, 3, 4, 45 plus inchers,
Right.
live in southern Wisconsin.
Yeah.
But we ended up with 5 fish on that shoot, and you got the biggest one was just under 50. It was definitely 49 to 49
Yeah.
3/4. I
Nice
can't
fish,
remember.
yeah.
Really good one, but
That's a good shoot.
yeah, no, so the moral of the story was what really that really sparked my career, and I really want to say thanks to you for bringing me on that trip, because after that trip, I'm driving home, I'm like all excited about Minnesota muskie fishing. I get home, I talk to my roommate, Steve, and his brother, I'm like, we're going to Minnesota this weekend. Come on. This is unbelievable. There's big fish to be caught here.
Yeah.
And sure enough, we left for Mille Lacs Lake. We had heard that was putting out some big fish. And this is a true story. I kid you not. We get to Mille Lacs. We put the boat in. We have a fishing hotspots map that says Garrison Reef as a 5-foot circle is all we knew. We pull out there, and we're like, oh, here's 8 feet of water. Steve's brother picks up a rod, fires the first cast ever into Mille Lacs Lake. We got a 48.5 incher.
Boom.
We caught 4 more that afternoon, and that day I decided I was going to go guide on that lake. So
like
thank
that.
you, Pete. I appreciate it.
That's pretty awesome.
That definitely was the onset of a life-changing situation.
Well, I kind of knew that, but I didn't really realize
Right.
after all these years that I inspired your Minnesota guiding
Oh
career.
yeah, yes, absolutely.
Sweet.
So there you go. I had to add that. It's just a great memory for me. So thank you.
Which actually, if you think about it, if that didn't happen, we probably wouldn't have been on the lax, which means I wouldn't have caught my biggest muskie ever.
Oh yeah. It just
It's kind of weird.
Oh gosh, if we'd have never gone to Leech together, I doubt there'd have been any more muskies caught ever again. Probably.
Now we're thinking. All right,
most likely.
glad we got this all figured out.
yeah, the Minnesota thing has definitely opened up some opportunities for a lot of people. So
Crazy.
Oh,
incredible. The leech fish in general.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother topic matter we would like to chat with further at some point.
we've actually chatted quite a bit about it today.
Today,
we don't
yeah.
have time for
We
that
don't have
right
time
now.
for
That's a
that.
whole nother
You'll
video.
hear more about it later.
So with all the musky fishing you've done and over the years, what's maybe one of the more memorable catches for you personally?
Well, there's been a lot of them, I guess, but the most memorable to me, at least in the early years, was John Gillespie actually caught it, finally getting a big one. We had
This is
actually
in northern Wisconsin?
Yes,
Okay,
this was
right on.
northern Wisconsin, and frankly, I don't think we'd filmed anywhere else yet
Sure.
in those days. And we'd done pretty well, but it was maybe 20 pounds, a little over 20 pounds. We hadn't caught a big one.
Yep.
And the whole goal was to get one on this late fall trip, and we're
Yep.
fishing, super late. I believe it was darn near December, and I remember it was snowing and cold, and here's the other part. We ice fished the day before. We did an ice fishing show.
Oh my gosh.
And then
yeah.
we went musky.
It
Yeah,
was
we
late.
were literally on 6 inches of ice, bay ice,
on one of the
Yeah.
lakes.
and then we went musky fishing.
Oh my
so
gosh.
now we're gonna get the big musky.
Yep.
And there was only one other boat out that day, my buddy Bruce Shumway, and
yeah.
and we were trolling, and he caught one, and he caught it close enough to us that we saw it, and we went
Yep.
and filmed it. And
Yep.
it was a beautiful musky.
Yeah.
It was a 47, 48 inches.
Wow.
Sure.
Big one.
So, but and Bruce stopped by and chatted. It was getting dark. He's like, "Oh, I'm going to the bar up the road. And see you guys. Stop by for a beer." So anyway, it was basically first dark. We're
Yeah.
trolling along, And the rod goes off, and I don't know if it was that spectacular of a fight in a way. We figured it was something big, but what was neat about it is it was definitely the biggest fish I'd ever put in a net yet. I figured it was over 40 pounds.
Oh, wow.
But I was underestimating it. Right?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know
you
if
you usually do, which is good to be safe.
Yeah. I'm bad for that, I guess. But anyway, John's screaming, this might be our 30-pounder. And well, I think it's a 25-pounder.
Yeah, not too worried about it.
Get a little closer. And then I'm like, we got our 30-pounder. And then it was, holy cow.
Right.
So, yeah, and that was a great big fish.
This is a big fish. This is a big fish, Pete. Good. Oh my. There he is. He's out there. I see him. Wow. Oh, there he is. That's a big muskie, man.
That's a pretty big fish.
What do you think?
It might go 30.
Eat him all. Oh, look at this muskie. Yeah, that's going. Right, there it is, Pete. That's our 30. Man, finally. Boy, we've been doing this for 5 years, and we finally got our 30. Look at this fish. You folks aren't going to believe this thing.
On that fish.
Oh, my. Look at this, look at this, look at this. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. That thing is just a sound. That's a sound.
And then the deal with Shumway. We did stop at the bar.
Oh boy, this is a good
and John, all good things happen at the bar. Right?
Right.
Nah, but that's where guys like to talk about.
Oh
the
yeah,
deal, right?
absolutely.
And Gillespie plays it perfect. So Bruce is there. He's having a beer, and he starts in with Bruce right away and gives him his moment. He's like, Bruce, that's the biggest, most beautiful muskie I've ever seen in your life. And he kept going on that. I can't remember what. And then there's the big pause. Until the big one I caught.
Oh man, just laying it out.
And then Bruce about dropped his beer, but it was a big, beautiful fish.
How long do you think that was?
How big is this fish? Like
51, 52?
We measured that one on the floor of the boat. Something I don't recommend right now. But it was slow on the floor of the boat.
Sure. Yeah,
it was long time ago.
Yeah, no
but
doubt.
We had 51 and a half, and we found out, 19 and a half years old, because it was a fin clip. It had a pectoral or something.
Wow.
I believe, and they were able to track it. So.
Special
An
fish.
old animal.
Holy cow.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was a big old.
Of course, Gillespie would catch it.
He was always lucky. Every time I've been out with him, man. He
Actually, yeah.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt.
Hey, he stuck it out.
Yep.
Believe me, it was one of those nights where most people would want to follow Bruce to the bar
right away. Yep.
But it was like, we better stick it out.
Yep. A few hours left of the season, pretty much. Probably.
Oh yeah, you're already ice fishing. So
That's pretty funny.
that's an awesome story. Yeah, so speaking of big catches, I've got one to share myself that was, of course, with Pete. This was, I can't recall if it was 2006 or 7. At any rate, I'm kind of a loss.
Right around there.
At any rate, was the last day of our trip. We generally fish 3 days together when you go do a muskie shoot with John.
Oh, right. Yep.
And it was the last day. It was basically noon. And we had to get the sponsor stuff out of the way. There was an ad for the magazine, and there was one other thing. But the interview with myself, John was interviewing me, saying, so, you don't just catch them here in the fall. You've caught them all season long. Yep. You've had a spectacular season, Lee. You've got 26 muskies over 50 inches this year, to your credit, in the boat, whatever.
Yep.
And basically he says, do you think there's one more out there for us? I'm like, it's probably right in front of us.
Sure enough.
10 minutes?
And it was really, really cool, because it was, I don't know, I think it was only a few more casts.
Yeah, I can't recall, to be honest.
Insane.
Yeah, and next thing you know, he's got a giant. So it was just one of those things you really had to be there, I guess, to a certain extent to actually appreciate it. But I think we all believed it, but you don't expect it to happen
again.
Just like that. And that fish, we used the measuring stick in the net. So the fish was probably bent.
What did that weigh? Measure. I forget.
With the fish bent, it was 52 all day.
Oh, it's big fish.
So,
great,
52, 53.
You could see that right away.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing swam right into the net. I couldn't believe a fish that big.
Oh, yeah. The bait was gone.
Came that eat. Oh, yeah.
It was gone.
Maybe that's what had him bummed out. He was probably just like,
Get
can
this
you
out of me.
please dig this thing out of my throat?
Not
for
really
me?
digging it.
And there was no blood though. I remember it was
Oh,
easy
no.
to get out. Fortunately,
Your
that's the only
blood.
problem when you
No, there was blood. That was your blood.
It was my blood.
He's
Nobody
always
cares about
bleeding.
me. Yeah.
He doesn't wear gloves, so I like to wear gloves.
Nobody needs.
I don't want to bleed when I'm busy fishing, but at any rate. Yeah, so this 52, 53, whatever, and it was definitely, I had held a lot of amazing fish that year, fortunately, and it was one of the larger fish, heaviest fish I had ever held.
Oh, that was a beast. Yeah, it was one. It was
27, 28-inch class. I mean, it was
shaped like a railroad tie, I always say. But I love that when they carry it, right from you got the gill plates, and then you got the shoulders.
Yep.
past the butthole.
Carries all the way.
But yeah,
Oh,
obviously we've got some footage of that fish and a picture of that one, and that footage right there, I mean, put me on the map for Mille Lacs. That fish went so far.
The phone was a little busy.
The phone was ringing. It was what an incredible moment just to share that with good friends, and definitely one of the most memorable catches of my muskie career. So
Yeah, that was something. In
big
those
white
days.
fish. That thing was white.
Yep.
Wow. And I know, and it happened to be on the same reef, perhaps the same high spot of a reef where Robbie caught his personal best.
That's insane.
54 and a half by 27.
Oh,
So,
jeez.
man, I missed that lake.
Something about that spot.
That lake was cool.
There's
So
a rock
cool,
there
but-
they like.
Yeah.
They just back in there and park.
Yeah.
ambush spot.
So
Very
cool.
cool.
So obviously, Pete, being a pioneer of this sport, generally speaking, good for you, by the way. And
Do I
thank
have a pioneer look?
Great. This is great.
Yeah, what would be, if you were to kind of sum up maybe, I don't know, a proudest moment of your career, or something that really sticks out, or something you want to share with everyone that just comes to mind? Doesn't have to be something like that. But
Right. Yeah. You
don't
know,
know.
I guess it's always more fun to talk about the biggest fish ever and different
Sure.
things you've done.
Yeah.
You know.
Right,
But
right.
I think the single biggest thing that's probably most important to me that I've been known for quite some time, and I still think is probably the most important thing I've ever done is try to get the message of conservation out there.
Sure.
To a certain extent, in a lot of different ways, and there's all kinds of different stuff we could get into. A lot of what we were talking about today, it's
handling,
it's not
to
just
stocking.
handling, it's stocking,
Stocking,
it's spreading messages on a
Yes.
lot of different things that are knowing, with all of us knowing the fishing pressure is the way it is right now.
Yeah, it's not going to get any better.
No.
I mean, it's
well,
going to get better in a way where more people are fishing probably for them.
right. There's one
is-
way
right,
that we can solve the problem. If we let it get really crappy, the pressure will go down.
Yeah, right.
Eventually, if you
But-
deplete the lakes to the point of,
where you can't catch anything, then you probably won't be fishing much. Yeah, yeah.
right, exactly. If it gets bad enough, but yeah, just the all of these different issues. We've been fortunate, and now you as well, Lee, and I, for quite some time to be able to make our living fishing, which is really.
Pretty rare.
I mean, that's a tremendous thing
Yep.
to be able to do, really. I mean, what a country, frankly.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Yeah,
guys.
it really is awesome.
Yep.
But, most of us don't do enough, myself included, to really put back into the fisheries and try and help preserve and save and make better
Right.
through a lot of these issues. We'd be talking about strains of fish and protection and this, that, and the other. So I think that I'm most proud of kind of being a leader in conservation, trying to get people understanding, catch and release, how to do it properly.
Yep.
A lot of the things I've done and talked about over the years, I learned them the hard way.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, I killed fish along the way.
Yep.
I used to let muskie swallow suckers and
Oh yeah.
Oh, sure.
all
Yeah,
kinds
it
of
was.
stuff. But as I learned the process, it's muskie suckers are a huge topic, really, because in reality, if done properly, if the hook's set quickly and rigged right, it is the absolute safest
It
method.
is.
Yeah.
Period.
Right.
You'll never ever hurt a fish. You'll never hook them in
Right.
the eye. You'll never do. But on
Right.
the other hand, you can kill darn near 100%
Right.
of them if you're
Done
not
the wrong
If you
way.
let 'em eat
doing
it.
it properly
Yep.
and letting them eat it. So these are these are issues that are extremely important. I really, I hope I can work with you guys more on some of the handling issues and stuff like that.
Sure.
There needs to be more messaging out there to to get people to be more careful. Catch and release, it seems like kind of a stupid, simple thing, but it only works if the fish lives.
Right.
And there are some issues that even I'm understanding a lot more with delayed mortality.
Sure.
For sure.
Yep.
I felt like originally most of the fish that die will die right away. The reality is the majority of them die later, often several days or weeks after, and most of them sink. So when we're seeing, X amount of floating fish,
how many are really out there?
How many are actually down there?
From what I understand, for every one you see, there's 9.
Sure.
I can't guarantee that, but it's really something to think about and get that message out there to make sure we're doing the right thing as much as possible. And the how big the water temperature, how big a difference that makes. I mean, the bottom line is you can do so much more handling when the water is really cold and get away. People need to know that. When the water temperature is 75, it's a whole different ballgame.
Right. Yeah. Gotta be quick. Yep.
Well, Pete has certainly been an advocate for the muskie. The muskies themselves, they need help. They need the preservation and all that information out there. And he's definitely been at the forefront of that. And I know you've taken heat for that, but it's what it's what it comes down to. I mean, you just got to put it out there. And you've always told the truth about all those situations, all of that, and that's important. So we thank you that you've actually taken it to that level, to willing to take the heat to get those words out there.
Even though you say muskies suck, I mean, it's really, you do actually care for that.
It is kind of weird.
You actually really do care for that.
For those of you not,
I care.
For those of you not familiar, Pete has an awesome book out there available called Musky Suck. It is. I'm not a big reader.
Yeah.
I just watch things.
Right.
And it was a book I actually read front to back.
First one since 6th grade,
Oh,
Yeah,
7th grade?
most likely.
Okay.
I slept through high school English. Can't even say school.
School.
But at any rate.
Fellow addicts understand.
Yeah.
And you got to admit, I mean, really, guys. Now, is that a tremendous name or what for a book?
Absolutely.
It's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer, yeah.
Yeah, we use it quite regularly out in the field.
Out in the field, yeah.
We're so super happy to be able to take this time with you, Pete. And we're also really happy because we've got a few more hours yet. We could possibly boat multiple muskies in one outing.
We have clouds coming in.
Yeah.
Fishing looks really good right now. I'm liking this. I'm getting ready to get this interview out of the way.
Yeah.
And let's go catch another muskie.
I'm ready. Let's go.
Let's do it. Thank you, Pete.
Robbie, Pete, the weather's beautiful. It's cloudy. We have not seen a muskie since we lost the sun. What's going on here? What do we got to do here?
Doesn't make much sense.
What do we have to do to catch what? We just want one more muskie tonight.
Only one more.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
We need a slight breeze.
Breeze would be good. Breeze would be good, yeah.
I want to see the algae get stirred up.
I might have to bring out the little flap tail, Pete. It likes this condition. Caffeine's engaged. Coming up to the power hour here. Let's make something happen. Beautiful fall day. 80 degrees today. It's wonderful.
Bottom line is it's crap weather in reality.
Right you are. Right you are, Pete. Right you are. Crap weather. Well, the good thing is we got the muskie catching part done earlier in the day. It didn't happen tonight.
Can't even believe that. I mean, it was a perfect, beautiful night. We have weather pushing in and still couldn't get it done.
That's what happens when you get non-seasonal progression in the fall. When it heats up, it's just, we talked about it. It's never good.
We've talked about it for years. It's just about always tough.
Yep.
But we got one. It's all good.
Yep. Got to spend a fun day with Pete. Thank you for having us. That was fun.
It was fun, guys. The bugs are gathering. Though.
Yes, let's make this short and quick.
Yes, you guys will have to make sure you check out Muskie Suck book out there. I'm
Yep.
sure we'll find a link for that somewhere and get
Yep.
that in there so you guys can scroll down and check that out.
Yep, and make sure to check out Pete Maina's YouTube channel. Got some stuff on there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Plenty
The
of
old
stuff.
guy's got some stuff on there too.
on the old boob tube.
Well, that's all we got tonight for the Legends of Musky Fishing series. We'll definitely be doing another one with Pete at another time, I am sure. I am certain of it. Looking forward to that. I'm sure we got a lot more stories to hear.
Yep.
Oh, stories we got.
Yeah.
We got them.
Well, make sure go down to the subscribe button. That'd be awesome if you could click that little red button for us and for Pete's channel as well. Until the next vid, we'll see you then.